Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at how to keep the romance alive in our relationships.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at this source, Romancing Your Partner.
hmm
And it's all about how to,
Really keep that spark going.
keep that going strong long term.
Long term,
Not
exactly.
just the initial,
Honeymoon phase.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So romancing your partner really emphasizes this idea of continuously wooing your partner, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it's not just about the beginning of the relationship, is it?
Right. It's like you don't just stop putting in the effort once you're,
Comfortable.
you're settled or whatever.
Yeah.
So why is that so important?
Well, if you think about it in terms of attachment theory,
Okay.
that's a psychological framework that explains how we form bonds with people.
Mm.
And those consistent displays of love and affection,
Yeah.
they actually build a sense of security
Okay.
and strengthen the connection between partners.
So it's not just about like keeping things exciting. It's actually about building a foundation.
Yeah, exactly. Building that trust and stability.
That makes a lot of sense. And that actually reminds me of something I read by Stephen Covey.
Oh,
He
yeah.
talks about love deposits.
Love deposits.
Yeah, have you heard that?
I have, yeah, from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
It's like putting money in the bank, right?
Right.
You make these small acts of love and appreciation, and they add up over time.
It's like an investment in your relationship.
Yeah, you're creating this reserve of goodwill and connection.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And, romancing your partner really seems to back this up.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all about consistently showing our partners they're loved and valued.
Yeah,
Not just at the beginning, but throughout the relationship.
throughout.
Yeah. And that actually makes me think about the 5 love languages.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those?
How could I forget?
Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch. It seems like continuous wooing would involve speaking our partner's love language.
Right? It totally connects.
Yeah, so how do we actually put all of this into practice?
Right.
Especially in a long-term relationship.
Especially long term, because
I mean, are we supposed to be constantly showering our partners with grand gestures?
well, I don't think it's necessarily about going overboard.
Okay.
It's more about being intentional and consistent.
Okay.
And romancing your partner emphasizes that even small acts of love and appreciation can have a big impact.
So what could we do every day? What
Well,
would be an example?
let's take flirting, for example.
Okay.
We usually think about flirting.
At the beginning.
Yeah, like the early stages of a relationship.
Yeah.
But romancing your partner is suggesting that it can actually be even more important
Oh,
for
right.
long-term relationships.
For keeping that spark.
Yeah, to maintain that spark and connection.
So we shouldn't let it just fizzle out
Right, exactly.
once the relationship becomes more mature. Okay, so why is that?
Well, think about it this way. When people flirt,
Yeah.
their brains release these chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin.
Okay.
Those are the feel-good chemicals.
Right.
They create those pleasurable sensations, and they actually strengthen the bond between partners.
Wow. So it's like
It's not just about having fun.
flirting's not just about having fun. It's
Actually strengthens your relationship.
like on a chemical level.
Yeah,
That's pretty fascinating.
it is.
Okay, so what if someone's not a naturally flirty person?
Mm-hmm.
Romancing your partner does give us some guidance on this, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things that stands out is the emphasis on understanding your partner.
Okay.
Like, what are their needs and preferences?
What are they into?
Exactly. And this is where the Gottman method comes in handy.
Okay, I've heard of the Gottman method.
It's a well-known approach to couples therapy.
Okay.
And one of the core concepts is bids for connection.
Bids for connection.
Yeah.
What's that?
Those are like the subtle attempts we make to connect with our partners throughout the day.
Oh, okay.
So they can be verbal.
Okay.
Like, how was your day?
Yeah.
Or they can even be nonverbal. Like
Sure.
a smile or a quick touch on the arm.
Gotcha. So it's like those little moments where we're trying to engage with our partner.
Yeah, you're trying to engage and you're hoping for a response.
Right.
And hopefully a positive response.
So being attuned to those little moments and responding in a way that makes them feel seen.
Seen, heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
And that's where continuous wooing comes in.
Exactly.
It's about being present, recognizing those bids, and responding in a way that strengthens that bond.
That's it.
Okay, so if we're trying to woo our partner, we need to be on the lookout for those bids.
Mhm.
But what about being more direct? Romancing your partner does talk about.
Oh, yeah, they get into some specific ways to flirt.
Some specific ways.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And I think that's a great place to pick up.
In part 2 of our deep dive. So we were talking about those specific ways to flirt that romancing your partner mentions.
Right. Yeah, they actually get into some pretty interesting stuff.
Like, where do we even start?
Well, one of the simplest but most effective ways is through playful compliments.
Playful compliments.
Yeah.
So it's not just saying, like, you look nice.
Right. It's about noticing those unique things you adore about your partner and expressing them with a lighthearted touch.
Oh, so instead of you're beautiful, it's your laugh is my favorite sound or something like that.
Exactly. You're being specific, you're playful, and you're letting that genuine admiration shine through.
Okay, I like that. So what about teasing? Is that a good way to flirt?
Teasing can be really effective, but you got to be careful with it.
Yeah.
I mean, gentle teasing, when done right, can create a fun, flirty dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is knowing your partner well.
Yeah.
What they might find funny and endearing,
Right.
someone else might not.
Totally. And it's not about pushing their buttons.
No. It's about that playful banter, that back and forth that builds connection and shared humor.
Exactly. And flirting isn't just limited to words, right?
Right. Romancing your partner also talks about expressing desire, whether it's through your tone of voice, a lingering look, or even a touch that lingers a little longer than usual.
I see. So it's about building that anticipation,
Exactly.
that spark of excitement.
Yeah, that makes you want more.
Okay, this is making me realize that flirting is a bit more nuanced than I initially thought.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not just about being cheesy or over the top.
Right. Romancing your partner really emphasizes that it's about finding what works for your relationship, what feels authentic and genuine for both partners.
And that might even change over time, right?
Absolutely. What we found flirty 5 years ago might feel totally different today.
That's so true. So it's about being adaptable,
Yeah.
staying curious about each other,
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to try new things.
And communicate.
Yes, communication is key. So continuous wooing isn't about following some rigid script. It's about making that effort to connect with our partners
Mm-hmm.
and make them feel loved and appreciated in ways that resonate with them.
Beautifully put.
And it doesn't have to be a chore either.
No, it should be fun.
Right.
Remember those moments of joy amidst the daily routine? That's where the magic happens.
You know what I just thought of romancing your partner? Even mentions how this applies to more than just romantic relationships.
Oh, yeah, they talk about
It's like friendships, family.
Exactly. Those principles of attentiveness, appreciation, and intentionality.
Yeah.
They can really enrich any relationship.
So it's about bringing that same energy
That same mindfulness.
in all of our relationships.
Exactly, because when we make an effort to understand the needs of those around us,
Yeah,
we create these environments of trust and positivity.
I love that. It's like a ripple effect, spreading that love and kindness outwards.
I like that a lot.
But in this deep dive, we are focusing specifically on romance.
Right.
So romancing your partner does give us some more specific tips
It-
for keeping that romantic spark alive.
Yes, and that leads us perfectly into the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we were talking about more specific tips for keeping that spark alive that romancing your partner talks about.
Yeah, and one thing that really stuck with me
Oh.
was their advice on flirting verbally and through text messages.
Oh, like sexting and things like that?
Yeah, kind of, but it's not always about being overtly sexual.
Okay.
It can be as simple as adding a suggestive tone of voice or using playful emojis,
Okay.
even when you're not physically together.
It's like sending a little virtual wink. I
Exactly.
could see how that would keep things interesting throughout the day.
Right. It's all about keeping those love deposits coming,
Mhm.
even in the midst of your busy schedules.
So like a quick text that says, thinking of you, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Something short and sweet.
That's a good tip. What else does romancing your partner say?
Well, they also talk about setting the scene for romance.
Okay.
Creating a sensual atmosphere
Mm.
where you can reconnect and enjoy each other's company.
So like dimming the lights, putting on some music.
Yeah, exactly. Or just creating a space where you can really focus on each other.
It's like creating a little oasis of romance.
I love that.
A space where you can escape the everyday and just reconnect.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And it doesn't have to be complicated or expensive.
Right.
It's the thoughtfulness and intentionality that matters.
Exactly.
So it seems like it all comes back to being mindful,
Yeah.
being present, and making that effort to keep the romance alive,
It's a continuous journey,
no matter how long you've been together.
right? Relationships need nurturing.
But that nurturing can be really rewarding.
Oh, absolutely. It's about Finding those moments of joy, those sparks of connection.
To make it all worthwhile.
Exactly.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Romancing your partner has given us so much to think about.
It really has. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that relationships thrive on attention and affection. It's about making that conscious choice to keep the spark alive, to never stop wooing your partner, even after all these years.
And it doesn't have to be about those grand gestures.
Yeah.
Or those big elaborate displays.
Right.
It's really those small, consistent acts of love and appreciation that make a difference.
Those are the things that really matter.
So whether it's a playful compliment, a sweet text message, or just taking the time to truly listen to your partner, those little moments of connection can make a big difference.
They really can.
They can strengthen your bond and just bring more joy into your relationship.
More joy, more connection.
So for those of you listening, what's one thing you could do today to make your partner feel loved and appreciated?
Doesn't have to be big or complicated.
Start small, be consistent, and watch your relationship flourish.
That's it.
That's great advice. And if you want to learn more, we highly recommend checking out Romancing Your Partner.
Yes, it's full of amazing insights and practical tips.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive
Thank you.
into the art of continuous wooing.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those sparks